Hello, welcome to the Fashion Shed. My name is Chris. This is a beginner's tutorial on how to create this outfit. Don't forget, all of the original design files can be found on my Clo3D store. Just click the link in the bio and you can download all of this stuff for free. Right, let's get started. Okay, so go up to the library in the top left-hand corner. You need to hit the avatar folder and then go down to the female version 2. And then there's tons of different avatars you can pick from, but I always pick the Una. The face is a bit more realistic than the older versions. So here we are. Right, get rid of the library so you can see the full screen. Okay, so I want to get rid of the shoes because I don't need heels for this outfit because it's a sportswear outfit. So open the library again, go onto Avatar, Female 2, and then click Shoes. And then there's tons of shoes within the folder. And I'm going to pick the sandals. Now to change the colors of the sandals, select both of them, hold shift, and then you can select both of them. Go over to the property panel and change the color. I'm going to do a nice white. All right, now for the leggings. What we're going to do, we're not going to be using a block for this. We're going to draw onto the avatar with the 3D pen. So go down to 3D pen avatar. And what you can do, you can draw onto the avatar, hold shift as you're going around here, and that will keep it in line. So go all around the waist, across the belly button. So you have to get quite close and then let go of the shift, or else it won't connect. There you go. So on the center front, we're going to create a center front seam. Go right through the legs and up the bum. Perfect, because center front and center back. So this is going to be the bottom edge of the waistband. So create a little bit of an angle at the back. Okay, now for I have to do the cuff first. So again, hold shift as you go round, and then just as you're at the end, let go of the shift. Right, now for the inseam. It's perfect. And the outseam. And obviously you can be really creative with this process to get nice paneling, but because we're doing a pretty straight up and down legging. Okay, so I lost all the seams, but if you just go back to 3D pen, you get it back again. So 3D pen, go to flatten and select the 3 panels, so waistband, front and back, and then you double click. There you go. They appear. Now there's a lot of editing we need to do on these because this is the exact shape of the model. Now, obviously this is going to be jersey material, so we need to straighten up all of these seams so it's not as wavy, because this isn't how an actual legging would look. Right, first we're going to get some fabric. So if you go down to fabrics on the library, if you type in knit here, it brings up all the different knit options. I'm just going to use a knit terry for now, just because that has a bit of thickness to it and a bit of texture. Okay, so I'm going to change the color to pink. Okay, now to get rid of some of these seams, I am simply going to select these points, and just delete them. Because the knit terry is so stretchy, you can just have an absolutely straight seam at this point. There's a thing, if I was creating this as a physical pattern, I would make sure that everything was fitting nothing was stretching too much, and that I could actually export it and make the garment. But a lot of the times when you're creating just 3D garments so that your client can see the design, I don't really go into the fitting of the garment massively, because you can get away with a lot. Okay, so these are all straightened up. What I want to do is I want to make sure that these seams are the same length. So what we're going to do is change length and make that the same as the other one. Okay, and you make sure that the difference is at the bottom, not the top. So for the outside seam, so change length. I'm going to change it. See how the arrow's at the top? We want to change that so it's at the end. So it changes it at the bottom of the leg. Okay. Okay, now for the waistband. Again, the waistband for this garment would just be straight, and I could create a new panel and make it a perfect pattern, but as this is just a 3D render, we're just going to clean up these seams. Nice. Okay, select everything and press Control C and then Control R, and that creates a mirror image of the panels. And what you need to do is you just need to go and sew the center fronts together, center backs, and the waistbands. You might notice that I strengthen a lot of the panels. I do this because I find it easier to work with. If you don't strengthen it and it's a lightweight fabric, it could flap and go all over the place. If you strengthen it while you're working on it, it kind of toughens it up and keeps it in place a little bit more. Okay, so this waistband has fallen down. So the easiest way to correct this is pull it up, freeze the waistband, and that pulls the rest of the trouser up, and then you can unfreeze that and it kind of stays in place. I've just shrunk the panels there. So if you go to the property editors and go to the shrink weft, I've changed it to 80. That'll make everything a little bit tighter. Now you can see that it pulled it down again. So what I need to do now, I need to change the actual pattern. So I'm going to move that up again. So the quick way to do this is to use the select tool and just select the top lines. I'm just going to use my arrow keys and just click up maybe 4 times. Every time you click, that's 1 centimeter. So I'm taking it up 4 centimeters. So it's still falling down, which is so frustrating. What it does, it pulls the crutch down, and you get a saggy crutch. So I've pulled the whole thing up, but the whole thing is collapsing in. So I'm going to pull these out so that I can reanimate them. That's good. Pulled it down a little bit, so there's still some correcting to do. I want it to be at the height of the belly button. So what I'm going to do, top edge of the waistband, right click, I'm going to offset. So I'm going to increase that 40-ish centimeters. That makes it nice and high. Just need to make sure that the sewing is also extended. Okay. Okay. Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to merge the front and the back together. I'm going to straighten up the two panels. This will help when you're doing any details on the outside leg. Right, so I'm going to create an internal line from the top to the bottom. Okay, so we're going to offset some internal lines. And what I need 3 stripes. There's that. Outside and that side. I can get rid of one of the lines. Okay, so I'm going to select all of the lines. I'm going to right click, cut and sew. You have to do the sew, don't just do cut. Or else when you simulate it, everything will fall apart. So spread these out a little bit. So these are going to be my Adidas 3 stripes. Okay. Okay, so we're going to copy that material. I'm going to change the color to a white. Zoom in and apply that material to each of the stripes. Now you can just leave it here, but it won't look very realistic. So what you need to do, you need to zoom in. Okay, take the strengthening off so you can see the colors and the material. So you can leave it here, but I prefer to make it look like there's tape sitting on top of the fabric rather than just flat like this. So what I'm going to do is I am going to select just the stripes. Oh, one's hidden under there. Select just the stripes. And I'm going to change the thickness. Okay. So the problem is it changes the thickness all the way around. So you can see the width of those stripes are getting bigger, which is not what we want. So you go up to the curved side geometry, and it is 100 at the moment. You change that down to 20. And that basically, the curvature of the sides, you're making straighter. Okay, I'm changing the intensity of the normal map down so it's not as textured. And you can see there that that gives those stripes a little bit of depth. See? So it actually looks like a tape sewn on top, which is perfect. Okay, what I'm doing now is I'm selecting all the sewing lines. I'm deleting the 3D seams. There's something, when you have the 3D seams, sometimes it just looks really unrealistic. So if you've ever got a panel sitting on top of another panel, just delete the 3D seams. Okay, this is, just realize that everything's away from the model. So I'm going to lower the particle distance. Okay, what you need to do is select the model and then go to, where is it? Skin offset, put that down to 1 millimeter, and that'll make the clothes tighter to the avatar. And I'm changing the thickness of the material so it actually looks like a waistband. Okay, let's get the logo. Right, so go to Google, type Adidas, well, whatever brand you're going to be using, PNG logo. Most top options will help you. So just download. And what this is, PNG is basically the logo in high resolution with no background. So then you can just drag it in. And then I'm going to desaturation. So you take the color off, or you put it on, so it turns it white. And just make sure that your color is what you want it to be. Let's change the scale of this now. Well, actually, do the offset to 1. That'll give it a little bit, make it look a little bit more 3D once you come to render it. So scale it and put it into position. And that's done. Right, now for the top. Now the top, I'm going to be using one of the ready-made blocks. So go to the modular library. I'm going to click Inset. I'm going to get just the standard fit, just the third one along, and then long sleeve, and then the third collar along. Get rid of that. Perfect. So you might need to adjust this before you press simulate. There we go. Now this fit is pretty good to go. I'm pretty happy with this as it is. So what we're going to do, we just need to apply the material. So what I want a lighter fabric for the t-shirt. So again, for the knit, then a rayon, and then I also need a rib. So I use this rib. Let's change the desaturation to white, and then put it in the pink that I want. Okay, so select all the main panels, put the rayon, and then the rib for the collar. Then we can get rid of all the other nets. Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to strengthen the collar and then simulate. If you don't strengthen the collar, it can pull a little bit. Okay, you can see that it doesn't look realistic at this point. All the thicknesses are a little bit strange. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the main material thicker. So put that on a 4. You see that horrible like crisp edge? That's the curvature again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all the panels, go up to curve geometry, which is currently off, and put that on, and that makes that edge nice and smooth. Makes it look more realistic. And what I've done there is you want the rib to be lower than the main materials. That's why you change the thickness of the materials. I've also deleted that the 3D seam again because it just doesn't look very realistic. Okay. Particle distance down to 8. That kind of helps it fall and drape a little bit more realistic. Okay, let's do the stripes on the arms. Same as how we did the legs, basically. You need to first create that center line. and then you do the offsets. So select that line, offset is delete one of them. I'll do that in a minute. Okay, so offset on the shoulder seams. Now, these are pretty close, but they're not 100% yet. We'll make them match perfectly in a minute. Okay, so you just select all these lines. Oh, I realized that I've actually got to delete one of the lines, so it's actually 3 stripes rather than 4. That's perfect. Okay, so select every single line. Cut and sew. Oh, forgot the back. Okay, apply the white material. Okay, so to align all of the stripes, simply we just need to go in and move all these sewing points over. Perfect. Okay, so we've got a problem with the depths again. So the main material looks heavier than what the stripes do. So what we need to do is select all the stripes, go down to the property editor and change the thickness. Again, change the curve geometry down to 20, and that pushes it up. Okay, let's put the logo on the chest. We can use exactly the same logo as what we did on the trouser. Okay, now for the stitch. These were the stitch lines that I made before, but the settings are quite simple. So the offset, the number of stitches is 2. Click those buttons on. Thread thickness, I use 100 and then SPI 10. You can play around with those just to get the look that you want. Change the color to pink, and the intensity and the thickness of the 3D is 25 and 1.5. Now this might not work for your garment or your project, but just play around. Zoom in and have a look. I always make the thread a little bit thicker than what it would be in real life, just so you can see it. These are the single thread top stitch for the neckline. There we go. I'm going to add a back neck buggy. So get the internal line tool. If you hold shift, it will create it at a 90-degree angle. Because I've got the panels mirrored at the moment, it makes it easy enough. Then apply the top stitch, just a single, and there we go. Okay, so I'm going to unfreeze, unstrengthen. Cool, so right, let's change the pose. So go to the menu, go to pose, and I am going to go to, I like the walking poses. There we go. I need to simulate this again just to make sure the creases and the materials look good. I'm going to strengthen that because it looks a bit saggy on the crotch. There we go. Makes it look a bit better. The thing's a bit tighter. See all the draping on the back? It could look a lot lighter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the weight up to 55. Change the particle distance down to 5. That'll help the draping. Okay, you can see how it's dropping now. The weight and the particle distance has basically worked together and just it's created a nice drape on the back there. Okay, let's render. Okay, so go to the render box. Okay, I'm just going to do, oh, okay, so nothing's in frame at the moment. So what I need to do is I need to push the avatar back. If I right click, go to custom views, I've already got some custom views in there, but I'm going to delete those. Perfect, so that's now in frame. So go custom views, save that custom view. So you can always come back to that so you don't have to keep doing the same thing. Okay, so now for the render settings, you can basically pick and choose what you want to add in this section. So current view, pixels 2000 by 3000. There's tons of presets that you can do. I've chosen the background to be the same color as the garment. I've got no texture on the back. Okay, so light. I am going to go for vivid. Make sure you lock the camera. That basically puts the lights at the front. And I've made sure that the ground shadow is showing. Perfect. Great. Now click the AI button. Select the model. That's all my features. So just beautiful sportswear model, brown hair. Gives you this result. And then you just simply click generate. And there we are. So the face has now been updated with a far more realistic face. Next thing you need to do, go into Photoshop, open the render, and click Control-Shift-A. That brings up this box. And what you can do, click the preset filter button, go down to portraits. Let's click number 2. And that gives it a much more nicer look. And that's pretty much it. That was a quick 40-minute tutorial. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you again soon. Bye.